Today's guest created the viral Stolen NASCAR campaign that drove over 3 million visits in just 3 weeks. He's a #1 international best-selling author. He's an award-winning marketer and executive coach who's worked with Apple, Intel, Charles Schwab, and Nestle. I love Nestle. He's trained over 35,000 professionals on marketing, sales, and scaling with freedom. He's helping entrepreneurs create more business and more life without sacrificing growth or balance. Today's conversation is part of a special Mind Capture Bootcamp series here on the Lead Machine Growth Show. I'm talking with several of this year's speakers so you can get a sneak peek at the ideas, energy, and inspiration waiting for you in Grand Rapids, Michigan this November. Steve, my brother, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming today. It's an honor to meet you again.
Yeah, my pleasure, Paul. Thanks for having me on the show.
You bet. So, let's just dive into this. What ignited your journey into viral marketing and executive coaching? What was there a moment that showed you life just has to be more than work only?
Well, yeah, I think going way back, it goes back to my heritage. My family are Italian immigrants, and I'm the third generation in the United States. And
Ah,
they were, like many immigrant stories, they were workaholics. And so,
mm,
I grew up very grateful of my father, but also, wanting to be with my dad, but he was always at work. So that laid a huge impression on my life. As I went into my own endeavors in my adult life, I quickly started becoming my dad. It's that thing that we resist. And then I wanted to become a family man. And when I had my first child, my son, I was embarrassed to say that I was worse than my dad. I was being so ambitious to become a multimillionaire so that I wouldn't have to work, that I put myself in like what they call the golden handcuffs. You like start, doing so many
mhm.
things, you kind of lock yourself out of your own freedom. And so that is what really propelled me to say, how else can I do this? And it was through getting a lot of good advice. One of my mentors said, "Steve, you have the old Italian coffee grinder, and you're still grinding away when you can go to any convenience store or any household store and get a grinder in like 30 seconds." So every time I was doing it the hard way, then I was reminded of this. And I guess the synopsis, the quick shot of it is, we always think that working more is going to build more success, but it's not true. It's working smarter. So actually doing more
Yeah.
hours is the easy cop out. I even have a joke with all my team, and I've been saying it more publicly. Working hard is the lazy way. It's like, because you're just putting more
Yeah.
hours in, it's not being smarter.
True.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
For sure. Work smarter. So at the boot camp, you're going to be talking about more business, more life. So what's the big idea that you want to share behind that? And why is it worth leaning into right now?
Well, there's going to be several things, and I won't be able to give all of it right now. But the one thing, there's several key factors that I'd like to, extrapolate right now. And one of them is that I had to give myself permission to stop. That's the
Yeah.
thing, the culture of the grind, the no pain, no gain. Like, I bought into that hook, line,
Hmm.
and sinker. No pain, no gain. I was seeking pain to gain. And then as I come into my awakening of like, there's got to be a better way, that was one of the first things to go on the chopping block, because I'm not saying that we don't gain when we go through hard times. Absolutely we do. And I've had many of those stories. But also there's so much to gain when we're in our pleasure, when we're in our joy. And I want to even bring something up really direct right now, because I like to give lessons right away. We've been taught also to not feel. It's like, suck it up, don't be a little boy or a little girl, like, whatever the story was told in your family or your society, your community. And this happens all over the world. And the reality is, our feelings are actually a good instincts. And so a lot of times when I
Hmm.
was traveling in that no pain, no gain, I was ignoring all the markers that were saying, don't go down this road. And,
Yeah.
and then I was like, how does this happen? Well, there's so many books. I mean, you see all the books behind me, and I've read a good amount of them, where you have people that went through hard times for 30 years, and then they're like, ta-da, I made it. And so everyone has this mindset that I just got to endure long enough to get to the other side. Well, I said, forget that. When I feel that pain, just like putting your hand on fire, your body wants to
Mhm.
move away. Then that gave me permission to stop, to pause, to recalculate and look which way to go. Kind of like if you're driving and there's a hazard, Are you going to drive right through it, or are you going to find a detour? And so I found a lot of detours that actually brought me more success faster. And so I guess
Mhm.
the quick lesson for today on this podcast, and I'm going to go even bigger at the Mind Capture Bootcamp, is
Yeah.
how do we recalculate quickly so that we can filter faster and get our actual life that we want now, instead of waiting 20, 30 years, 10 years, even 5 years of pain? Why do it? Why do it?
Yeah. And how important do you think uh, gratitude and having a North Star to guide you is in having that more life or more business and more life?
It's one of my greatest values, and I drive it through all my staff and everyone. Gratitude to me means appreciate all results, emphasis on all.
Mhm.
So even those painful moments, even those
Yeah.
markers of discomfort, I'm grateful for, because they're telling me to go a different way. So it's all information. So one of my mentors, Carl Buchheit, he says it best. He said, you choose what you want, then you have to take what you get. And I'm going to come back to that. And then you choose
Huh.
again. Now it's the take what you get part that everyone throws away. Because, right, you order what you want in your life, like you think about it, you're manifesting, or you're saying a prayer, or however you do it, or you put your goals on paper, or whatever it is, and then stuff comes at you, and you're like, "That's not what I ordered." I didn't order that, and then we resist, and then what Carl says is, then that's when we stifle our life. And so what I
Yeah.
did at first, it was hard for me to comprehend that, because it's like, oh, just take everything. But then when I weaved in gratitude into that in my
Hmm.
mind, I'm like, okay, well, be grateful for everything that comes my way, and then choose again. And so that's where the genius in Carl's work comes, because you choose, you take what you get, find your gratitude in whatever it is, even if it's something you did not want, and then you choose again. And when you do that rapid fire, I started getting what I wanted, Paul. I just started
Yeah.
finding that way, because it's in that not accepting, not having gratitude. Because even in the worst moments of my life, I can tell you now what I'm so grateful for. And even the worst parts of my life, I'll go as far, I'm so grateful for them. I would not wave a magic wand if I could and go back and take it away, because I wouldn't be the man sitting in front of you right now. So that's how
Yeah.
serious I am about being grateful for everything, even the stuff I didn't want.
Yeah. Also, and I'll layer on top of that. Napoleon Hill said, in every adversity, there's an equal and opposite opportunity. And I just add on to that and say that you just have to seize that, recognize it, and turn it to your advantage. And so many people and even clients that I have worked through this is that uh, they like you said, they get stifled by that, and they say, oh well, this is happening, and they attract more of it by focusing on the adversity part, where they, well, wait a minute, there's an opportunity here for you to grow, whether it might not be in exactly what you wanted, but like you said, it's you take what you get and you work with it.
Well, yeah, and just the one quick addition to that is that the trick, if you're listening to this right now, is we get stuck focusing on the storm. So you're in the storm,
Yeah,
whatever that thing that's happening that you don't want. And then, like you said, you focus on that, which is natural, right? Because you want to kind of get
of
rid of
course.
it. But what I've had to retrain my brain is, when the storm happens, to look for the gift. Okay, this is happening. It's kind of shaking things up, and then you got to find the gift. And so when I seek that, and I'm grateful for the rain. So it's like, that whole thing about what's good weather and bad weather. Like, who's to say that a rainy day is bad? I mean, we need to water our gardens, and so then when you start seeing the good in even the rainy day, it changes your
Yeah.
life, Paul. As you already know, we're echoing each other right now.
Yeah, we are, and also in the faithful words of REO Speedwagon, riding the storm out, right?
It's
Yeah,
it's the real thing, And if you're
yeah,
a surfer, you love the storm days. Those are the biggest waves.
yeah. That's right. Yeah, so there's an opportunity there for everyone. So practical takeaways. What's one simple move that listeners can do to implement today to bring more freedom into their business or their lives? And can you got a recent story that proved that it works?
Well, yeah, the one of the big ones that is kind of mandatory for anyone that works with me is they have to rearrange. So you're looking at what I'm talking about. I'm flipping our mindset, right? Like to
Uh-huh.
look at things differently. Well, one of them is in business, many of us think we need to take every client or customer, no
Mm,
matter what, right? We need to bring the
right.
revenue in. And there is facts to that, right? We need to
Sure.
make money so we can sustain the business. However, the fallacy is that when we accept those clients, what I've found is that's where our heartache comes in. That's where customer service comes in, even
Mhm.
litigation, because, I always say, who writes reviews? It's the people that fanatically love you, and then the people that absolutely dislike you, right? Or even
Right.
hate, if you
Yeah.
can say that word. And so those are the people that write about it. And when we're taking anything, then we have those haters in the room when we could have avoided that. And so here's the quick tip is start choosing who you work with. Now, this is a mindset shift. I have to address that because everyone's like, what do you mean, Steve? Now I'm going to have less clients? Are you crazy?
No.
Well, one of the things I'm going to teach at the Mind Capture Boot Camp is going deep into what I call the 4 R's. When you work with only wow clients that lift you up, that you're energized to work with, you end up getting more results. And when you get more results, guess what happens? More revenue, because those
Mhm.
patrons frequent you more. They come by more, they spend more. Think about it in your own life. When you go somewhere at a restaurant that was fabulous, you're going to tip more. You're going to show up again. It's going to bring more revenue. Then you're going to have the raving fans. They're going to write about you because you're just making something at a high level. And then the fourth R is more referrals, which is one
Mhm.
of, for all marketers out there, that's the big one, right? No matter
That,
what
that's the
advertising
big
we're doing, we
Kahuna.
want people to talk about us, and we want people to have third party endorsement. And so those four things come. And so then a real life example, I have a Canadian company. They're about 4.5 million. I came in, and the CEO was working 80-hour work weeks as well as a
Mm.
bunch of other overworked people. And I quickly realized they had two clients, about a half a million each. So 1 million, so almost a quarter of their revenue. And they were horrible. Like 80%, it's that 80-20 rule. 80% of their customer
Mm.
service went to those two clients, and people were losing morale. It was so bad, Paul. And so it
Wow.
took me 60 days to convince the CEO to fire one of them. And we gave them warning. We said, hey, you can't play like this, quote unquote, right? Like, we had discussions. We're like, this is inappropriate. You can't treat our people this way, all that stuff. And they didn't respond. So we fired them. And then within 30 days, he saw the upshot in his people, in actual growth. We went and got other customers because we had the energy and time and bandwidth to do so. And so then he let go of the second one. So thereby letting go $1 million. Think about if you're a CEO listening, doing that. But in 18 months, and I'm not joking, real true story, went to 9 million
Wow.
because we reallocated those resources. Just imagine if you're suffering, it's like just cutting a leg off, and let's go run a marathon. And that's what you're asking your business to do because you're letting toxicity come into your business. And so the short synopsis of this is you've got to choose, and you got to stop allowing people to disrupt your business. And that includes partners, clients, employees. I call it the wow. So wow clients, wow staff, wow partners. And that's what I do. Paul, I really help them find those wow, and then explodes. And I have multiple stories, but that's
Yeah.
for a short podcast, that's a good story there. So
Yeah, it's and Alex Hormozy talks about the same thing. And when you're just starting out, yeah, you kind of do have to bring the revenue in the door. But at some point, when you start talking about your ideal client, that's what you're talking about. And a lot of people that I see, they just think that anybody is their ideal client. Well, if they hire me, then they're ideal, right? Well, no, not necessarily. If you can't, you need to be able to onboard them and deliver your service, easily, so that it's so that your team can do it over and over and over again, and have systems and things like that that can deliver that. If you don't have that, then you're right. Your employees are gonna, or your employees or your contractors or your VAs they're not gonna be happy with that, and so it'll be hard for them to help deliver it. And the more clients you get, the worse thing it gets. I had an experience just like that where I was the CIO of a $50 million company, and they wanted to quadruple the company. And I went, "That's great. That's a great idea. I'm on board with that. Here's what we need to do. We need to retool what we've got." And meanwhile, they wanted to sell things that we couldn't deliver. And
Uh,
exactly what I just said, that is exactly what happened. And they fired me. They ended up firing me. It was the best thing that ever happened to me was they let me go because that was no longer the company that I joined when Million. They lost their North Star,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great story. And that's a great moment of gratitude, right? Like a moment where you
Yeah.
think getting laid off or let go or, getting fired is the worst thing, but then it's also could be the best thing because,
Well,
they hired you for your expertise to be a leader in the organization, but then not listening to you. And, yeah. So it's
well, it took me a
definitely
while. It
a
took me a while
choice.
to be. It took me a while to be grateful for that. And tell me, let me tell you,
Yeah, I
that
understand.
was a hard move.
Yeah.
So, what's lighting you up heading to the boot camp, and what are you most eager to share with your experience in the room? I mean, I think there's some stuff that you were just poking at that sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to go full in depth and we're going to do exercises in the room. One of the things people always ask me, they're like, "Are you a motivational speaker?" And I said, "That's not what I'm set out to do. I'm set to train people so they can make a difference in their life." And if, motivation is the byproduct, right? When you know what to do,
Yeah.
you think, but I'm going to share a story. What you said, what gets me going and excited to come. I didn't plan on being a speaker. That award that you talked about, where we were the number 6 viral ad in the world, that got me a speaking engagement that was really big. I mean, I went right to the top speaking engagement. So I was in Las Vegas at a big ad conference, and I'm sharing what I do, and I didn't even know how to speak or anything. So it's probably my worst speech ever. But
Yeah.
I left. But the real story is 6 months later, I'm at another event, and a woman that I do not know comes up and hugs me, and she's crying, and I'm like tears down the face. I'm talking, and then I'm like, "Hello," and she's like, "You don't know me," and I said, "I know." And then she backed away and she's wiping her face. She's like, "6 months ago, my husband and I went to Las Vegas to the event that you spoke at, and we went there because we retired and we took all our life savings and invested in a business, and we thought we were going to double our retirement, and we were failing. And Las Vegas was a last ditch effort. And then what you taught, I had to come over when I saw you and tell you that we turned the business around, and it was what you taught that
Oh,
turned the business around. And so that's Paul, that's what gets me up every day now for the rest of my life. So that was the moment that I
I'm
decided
with you.
that I'm meant to be a teacher, and that was
Yeah.
the moment. That was the paradigm shift. I never thought that I would be a teacher, and now that's what I do. I teach CEO, founders and entrepreneurs that have found success, but they don't have the life that they want. And I bring in these systems that grow business while
Hmm.
lowering those work hours. So we have more business and more life is the trademark. And I don't have to do anything to get myself psyched up to work. I just do it, because I love doing this so much, and I get to change people's lives. So.
Awesome. Gosh, I can't wait to be. I'm going to be there in Grand Rapids too, and we're going to have some fun. This episode of the Lead Machine Growth Show is brought to you by the 2025 Mind Capture Bootcamp, a high-impact 2-day event happening in Grand Rapids, Michigan. You're hearing from one of the speakers today, but if you want to go deeper, let's connect in person and capture some serious momentum. Join us live. Grab your ticket at mindcapturegroup.com/bootcamp 2025 and experience what happens when big ideas meet bold action. So, rapid fire here now. What's one underrated skill that every entrepreneur needs?
Uh, to rest well, to
Oh,
know how to
yeah.
rest. If you work all the time, you're missing the boat. Rest. I come out of rest and then I'll get stuff done way
Mhm.
faster. It's like a power drill with no battery, and you're trying to push it through the hole instead of charging the battery and then drilling the hole tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I like getting up early in the morning, and it was recently I've been working kind of burning the candle at both ends. I've written 5 books in 30 days, and I'm launching those and putting together all the things that need to be in place. And my wife is telling me I am worried about you, and
Yeah.
so I took the night off and I said, okay, I'm going to just start getting up early in the morning. I'm not going to be bothering you, and that way we'll have time at night to have rest and things like that. So that's working out great. And resting well is super important, especially as we get older. And you don't know, 5 hours of sleep is not enough.
No, and if you want a quick tip, Rest by Alex Sujung Paying, and he's been on my podcast actually last Christmas. If people look back at the More Business, More Life podcast, you can look at that. But he actually
Mhm.
proves historically how the people that actually rested well, actually Pulitzer Prize winners, all the like awards and prolific discoveries, came from people that actually didn't work more than 40 hours a week.
Wow.
And it's documented, so it actually gives proof, so your mind can hear it. Oh wow, people did take time off, and they actually did more than the person that worked 18-hour days. It's a great book. It's just called Rest, REST.
Huh.
Yeah, it's a great read.
And it reminds me of my wife. She was right. So
Yeah, go tell
I'll have
her.
to tell her tonight. I'll tell her tonight. So you were talking about books. You got plenty of books behind you. What was a book that changed your thinking?
Well, of course, I have to go back to Napoleon Hill. You already brought up Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
Right when I went to college, I actually my grandparents went on a trip to Europe, so I was blessed. My first semester of college, I got to use their house and house sitting. It was by my college. Well, one of my friends got kicked out of his house, and his dad was a huge like overbearing businessman, and he said, if
Hmm.
you don't read Think and Grow Rich, you're kicked out of my house. So he actually kicked him out. And then he was breaking stuff at my grandma's house. So I'm like, what the heck can we do to get you back at your house? And he said, well, I have to read Think and Grow Rich. So I read it with him just so he would leave my grandma's house. And that it changed my life, because it goes back
Ah,
to the choice. What that book told me was, you have a choice. Doesn't matter where you came from. You can come from the
yeah.
coal mines like Andrew Carnegie's family, and you can
Hmm.
do anything if you choose it. And so that's the most profound book.
Yeah, totally, totally. So, where can folks find your coaching and books, and why is seeing you live at the boot camp worth it?
Well, live, you've heard me say some zingers, and if you were attracted to any of those, then being in the room, I'll start
Yep.
with that. We're gonna do real life exercises. So I don't like to just talk to people. It's gonna be interactive. We're gonna do like a workshop, and you're gonna leave knowing what to do. So that's what I would
Mhm.
lead with. And then what was the first part? Sorry.
Where can people find your coaching and
Ah,
books?
Thank you. Well, stevenapolitan.com will take you to my speaking and my books, and also real easy, More Business, More Life is the podcast. And if you want to jump on our newsletter, I have a quick text message code. You just text WOW. We were talking about WOW Life, WOW clients. Text
Uh-huh.
WOW to 72,000. That's 72000
Gotcha.
72000. Text WOW, and then you'll be prompted to join my free newsletter that gets you
Nice.
the podcast. And then we talk about More Business, More Life every week.
Awesome. So you just heard a nugget from Steve, and we'd love to see you there too. So remember, faith and action go hand in hand. So keep the pedal to the metal until next time on the Lead Machine Growth Show. I'm Paul Guyon. And Steve, how do you say it? Is it Napolitan?
It's Napolitan. Yeah. So
Napolitan, Steve Napolitan. Awesome. I love how you pronounce that. I guess you're a third generation immigrant from
yeah,
Italy, huh? All
that's
right.
it. It used to have the O on the end there. Napolitano. It means one from Naples.
Napolitano. Okay. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. This is going to be fun. I can't wait to see you and meet you in person at the Mind Capture Boot Camp. I almost said Lead Capture Boot Camp. That would be my boot camp. So long for now. We'll talk soon.
Take care, Paul.
Thank you for tuning in to the Lead Machine Growth Show with Paul Guyon, where we show you how to tackle your tech, master your message, and design your dream so that you can transform your vision into reality. Remember to visit our website at www.leadmachinegrowthshow.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Lead Machine Growth Show.